Greetings, maniacs, Americans, and everyone else tuning in. I hope this video finds you well. Today I'm doing something a little bit differently. As of filming this, it is the 10th, but I plan to release this on Friday. That will be the 17th. And yeah, next Friday. I was thinking today's Saturday because I'm off, but I forgot it's because it's Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day. This is coming out late, but thank you all servicemen and women that have served our country. I have deep respect for them, for you. Thank you. And I know you don't do it for thanks, but either way. So at this point, this video is just kind of gonna be a recap of the week. Some of these stories people will be familiar with. Some of them, we're going to be talking about drugs today. And there's a reason why you should stay away from them. Because the people in these stories look like the kind of people you would want to avoid. And that one girl is scary. Like her mugshot, she's grinning ear to ear. Her mouth is wide and you can see all of her teeth. Like she's genuinely smiling, and she assaulted officers. We are in a deeply disturbed era. So what I'll do is I'll read the headlines of what we're going to get into, and then we'll get into them. So starting off, we have Maine man arrested for 12th time this year after rideshare confession. Maine woman allegedly assaults multiple officers while resisting arrest. Massive drug bust leads to lengthy prison sentence for Maine woman. Maine man facing new charges days after arrest for allegedly sexually assaulting 2 girls. I threw that in because this guy just gives me the creeps, and this kind of thing is not okay. And the more that it gets called out, the more stigma there is with it, because this is deserving to be stigmatized. Auburn crackdown, 6 arrested in raid on notorious drug house. And then we'll finish up with Maine, several arrested after nearly $250,000 worth of cocaine found in car. That'll be the last serious article. And then just to end on kind of a light note, I have Freeport, Maine, restaurant named one of the most interesting in the country. So it's not what I expected. Kind of think in your head the different restaurants that you know or can think of that would be in Freeport, and try to plan ahead and see if your guess is right. I was wrong. But you're going to have to stick around to see if you are correct about that. We'll do that one last. Going back to the original article, it's by WJME13. Maine man arrested for 12th time this year after rideshare confession, by Ariana St. Pierre. Bangor. Police say they arrested a Maine man for the 12th time this year after he allegedly told a ride service driver that he had warrants for his arrest. He intended to steal from a store and that he had drugs on him. Can you imagine the poor driver, the taxi driver, just kind of going along and being like, I was gonna laugh at first, but now this is too real. On November 3rd, police say they were called to the TJ Maxx on Broadway in Bangor by a ride service driver who told officers the rider had told the driver he had warrants for his arrest, that he intended to steal from the store, and he had drugs on him, which he reportedly showed to the driver. Why? Police say the man was identified as 41-year-old Kevin Gray of Bangor. Gray reportedly had multiple warrants for his arrest. When Gray came out of TJ Maxx, he reportedly ran when he saw the officers. Police say officers were able to catch him and Gray was arrested. Gray was also allegedly in possession of illegal drugs. Gray was charged with theft, refusal to submit to arrest, drug possession, and violation of conditions of release. Gray reportedly had 7 sets of pre-conviction bail prohibiting him from returning to multiple businesses due to theft charges at those stores, according to police. Police say Gray has been arrested 12 times this year. He was taken to Penobscot jail and was released on bail November 4th. That's a broken system. It's a non-violent crime, but 12 times you're in possession of illegal drugs. There's obviously some mental instability there because he's not thinking clearly. Brilliant criminal that intends to get away with something is going to admit to a service driver all the things that he did. So there's clearly some mental instability. So most of these articles all revolve around drugs, but I did throw in a couple that I just wanted to highlight because it just goes to a growing society. Let me rephrase. It's just showing the deterioration of mental health in the society that we're living. And the more we call it out, the more awareness there is, and maybe more loved ones will start taking care of other loved ones around them to make sure that mental health is taken seriously, because something has gone on since 2020 where mental health has been on a sharp decline, and now it is bubbling to a surface. And there has to be a time where we cut it off. 12 times he has had his chance. He has known the consequences and he's committed the actions anyway. There has to come a point where enough is enough. And spending 2 years in jail would hopefully smarten anyone up, and then they would get out of it and want to change their lives so they don't go back there again. One would think. So this is WGME13 again. Maine woman allegedly assaults multiple officers while resisting arrest. Classy girl. Sam Wheeler. This is from October 23rd. So some of these, it's hard to stay up to date with news because it changes so frequently and I don't have time to film every single day. So I'm trying to cover things that aren't as necessarily relevant but may have been overlooked, just to give more awareness to different situations than what mainstream may focus on all the time. And I don't watch mainstream, and this is a mainstream news report. Not all of them are from the same place. And then I do compile them so that I'm trying to give a heavy dose of the same topic in one video, so that way we get more than just a surface feel. Let me know in the comments down below if you like this style, or if you want multiple different topics at once, or if you kind of like to deep dive further. The comments and the engagement really help. So if you're watching and you haven't commented yet, I would really appreciate some comments. And I would appreciate this focusing. There we go. I can see that it focuses on the background, and I don't know how to get it so it doesn't do that, because the background stays clear almost all the time, and I get out of focus. And I can't sit on top of this thing. Okay, back to the article by Sam Wheeler. South Portland. Multiple police officers in South Portland were reportedly assaulted on Saturday morning while trying to make an arrest. Just before 8 a.m., South Portland police say a patrol officer saw a woman with an outstanding warrant walking in the area of Main Street. The woman, identified as 25-year-old Angela Terriel, quickly left before the officer could make an arrest, and canines were then brought in for tracking. Just a casual Saturday morning pursuit. Following a successful track, officers found her at a home. Police say she then threatened to jump out a second-story window. While officers outside were trying to de-escalate the situation, other officers entered the house and tried to stop her from jumping. Officers say Terrio then assaulted 2 officers before being arrested. One of those officers was taken to the hospital and then later released. I'm not laughing because he got hurt. This is crazy. A 25-year-old girl? Like, what are you doing? I mean, you're clearly not a woman yet if you're acting like this. You are still a girl. Terrio is now facing several charges, including assault on an officer, in addition to her underlying charges of burglary and aggravated criminal mischief. What about resisting police arrest, or just resisting police? She did more than just assault an officer. I mean, at that point, you made your decisions. Slap the book right on the table. I mean, there has to come a point when the law is the law, and if people keep breaking it, there must come a point where enough is enough. I think she got off lightly for what she did. In the comments, they're saying that they should have let her jump. Maybe a broken leg and a broken ego would have done her some good. She longed for the embrace of a cellmate. Oh. Yeah, does all this and then smiles for the mugshot. She's not just smiling. She is full on grinning like the Cheshire Cat, like a female Joker. It is not a good look. Not a good look. Beware. If you're on the dating field in Maine, beware. Do some research. Okay, so also the last one from WGME13. This one's also by Ariana St. Pierre, once again. Massive drug bust leads to lengthy prison sentence for Maine woman. She's looking rough in her mugshot. She's not trying to grin. She's trying to hold the essence of her being inside of her skull. I don't know if she knows where she is, but when she comes to, she's gonna be really alarmed. I'm just laughing because I'm seeing all the stuff on the table that this one woman was packing. Oh, okay. Clearly I need to get into it because there's 2 photos showing some different stuff, but wow. I mean, you gotta laugh somewhat because otherwise you're just gonna break down and cry at any moment all the time. So that's not a way to exist. Might as well laugh at the degenerates. People like this is who I mean by that. I'm not talking any kind of Hillary Clinton. Like, if you vote for Trump, you're a degenerate or whatever she called them. So that's not what I mean there. Anyone that's a repeat offender that does this kind of crime, has this kind of stuff on them, you had to take some sharp morally questionable decisions so many times in your life to get to this point. And I am kind of judging because, again, maybe that can help get our society back on track. Having some people that are like, you know what? No, that is fucked. That's not cool. Why don't we not do that? Why don't our children not aspire to be like these losers? Why do we go easy on criminals and respect them when they haven't respected society or anyone else around them. Society, government, laws, all of these things that hold us together as a society. If they're not going to respect that, I don't have respect for them. Period. Bangor. One of the largest drug seizures in state history led to a lengthy jail sentence for a woman from Bangor. In January 2022, police said 41-year-old Angelina 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and another man identified as Adam Jalbert reportedly tried to bail someone out from the Androscoggin County Jail in Auburn using counterfeit money. Oh my gosh. I'm not even gonna use any kind of wisdom to try and give them advice because it's pretty obvious what you could do, but you were so dumb. Police reportedly spotted 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Jalbert waiting in a vehicle outside the jail. After searching the vehicle, police said they found, and they had this right up, they had it with them. They wanted to get caught. Oh, man. Wow, they're dumb. Police said they found 112.3 grams of cocaine base, 165.3 grams of cocaine, 299.5 grams of fentanyl, and 492.3 grams of methamphetamines, along with a handgun. The next day, MDEA agents searched 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's home in Bangor and reportedly found 2 pounds of fentanyl, nearly 2 pounds of methamphetamine, over $30,000 in suspected drug proceeds, 2 handguns, and an AR-15 rifle. The street value of the drugs seized in Bangor was approximately $250,000, $250,000. In total, the Auburn and Bangor investigation resulted in the seizure of nearly 3 pounds of methamphetamines, 2.5 pounds of fentanyl, and 247 grams of cocaine. Both 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and Jalbert were charged with aggravated trafficking Schedule W drugs and violation of conditional release. On October 18th, following a 4-day jury trial in Bangor, 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 was convicted on numerous aggravated drug trafficking offenses. On Wednesday, 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 received one of the most significant sentences ever handed down as part of a state of Maine drug case. She was sentenced to 30 years in prisons, with all but 25 years suspended, followed by 4 years probation. Court proceedings for Jalbert are still ongoing. It's getting scary out there. People like this obviously have no moral compass, and they don't care what they do. Fentanyl and cocaine, those things are illegal. They had them anyway. So even if AR-15s are illegal, they'll have them anyway. So anytime I see this, it's just proof. They are criminals. Criminals will do what criminals want. If they want a gun, if they want a good gun, they will get that gun, and they'll get whatever kind that they find suits their needs. Criminals will find a way. Oh, actually, I said it was one last one from WGME13, but now this is the last one. And I just want to bring this creep to light because his mugshot, both of them, because of course he's a multiple offender, he has no soul. I'll judge that. He is lacking. He shows absolutely no remorse. He's looking straight ahead, he's looking at the person, not the camera. And he's just so neutral in a pathological way that it's disturbing. Again, this is written by Ariana St. Pierre from Tuesday, October 3rd. Maine man facing new charges days after arrest for allegedly sexually assaulting 2 girls. anytime there's children involved, as a 14 times uncle, I get furious. And you have to look out for the kids. If you aren't looking out for the kids as a society, even though I'm not a parent myself, if you aren't looking out for the kids in the society, you're not going to have a society. It's just like animals. If you have a pack and one of the cubs starts getting attacked and it's not the parent that happens to be near, that pack member is going to protect the cub. That's how it is with us too. You protect the children, otherwise you don't have a society. You don't have a civilized one for sure. And there are so many people coming for the kids, and they are disturbing. And that's why people like this deserve to be blasted. And then when they go to jail, they get what they deserve there. And jail is not kind to individuals of this predilection. A Maine man with long history of sexual crime convictions and who was charged last week with sexually assaulting 2 young girls has been arrested again. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says they charged 48-year-old Christopher C. Cates, the scumbag that he is, of Bingham last Monday with unlawful sexual contact, visual sexual aggression of a child, unlawful sexual touching, and indecent conduct. Deputies say the assaults happened earlier this year in Moscow. According to the Morning Sentinel, Cates was arrested again last Friday when investigators determined he was contacting the people involved in the sex assault case. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office told the Morning Sentinel that Cates was tampering with the victims and witnesses in violation of bail conditions. He had previously been released on $25,000 cash bail. Who the hell bailed a scumbag like this out? Like, who can you, like, and it's showing another picture from years ago of another mugshot, and he looks the same. Unremorseful, almost jolly, almost slightly happy. Maybe like he knows he's gonna be getting away with it and that he can do it again because he has a long history of this. Cates has been convicted of at least 7 sex offenses in a 10-year period, including for unlawful sexual conduct, indecent conduct, and a prohibited contact with a child under the age of 14. Cates' most recent conviction was in November 2021. Cates is also a registered sex offender. As of Monday, Cates was being held without bail at the Somerset County Jail. I'm glad there's no bail, because if there was, then I would contact the jail and be like, why is there a bail? This needs to be revoked. And then we would start a petition, we the people, and we would pass it. Repeat offenders like this deserve what's coming to them. And I don't know what's coming to them. That's not any kind of threat. I just mean people like them don't live easy lives because they have done some of the most atrocious things a human can possibly do to another human. And that always, every action has a consequence. So his consequences are coming, and there will be no tears shed from me. And I'm just reading some of the comments. This is one of the comments. We are so lenient on child molesters and sexual predators. I'm a survivor of child sex assault, and I can promise you the effects will stay with those children way into adulthood, long after this creep gets out of jail. There are men rotting in jail for marijuana charges, but child sex offenders are roaming free. Where is the logic? Hey, USA justice system, do better. I have to agree, and even if the US doesn't do it better, we here in Maine can. And there's gotta be a way to find out how to keep repeat offenders behind bars. And a common trait in all of these, every single person here has mental illness. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not qualified to diagnose anyone. However, when you are a 12-time repeat offender and you admit to an Uber driver that you're wanted for arrest, you have warrants out, you have drugs on you, and you're going to go steal from a store, you show the drugs for proof, like clearly mentally unstable. A Maine woman who's grinning like the Cheshire Cat, mated with the Joker, and she assaulted an officer after fleeing from them, after being wanted for something else. Like, clearly there's some instability there. A drug bust with a lengthy prison sentence for this Maine woman. She made a long list of decisions that led her here. If she needed help, then this is not the way to try and get it. I mean, there has to be some mental instability there, because if you really need money, there's better ways to get money. I understand maybe some people get hung up into wrong things. This one doesn't necessarily speak so strongly of mental illness. She could have just gotten into the wrong kind of thing. And if that happened, I really hope that we can find a way to get resources to prevent that kind of thing in the future. But this Maine man, friggin' Christopher Cates, he is so clearly mentally deranged. It's not even funny. Like, you don't need to be a doctor to be able to see that mental instability, and it's bad. So we need to bring back insane asylums, and then we need to do something about repeat offenders. The non-violent repeat offender from the first article, maybe jail isn't the right answer. Maybe what he needs is to be locked into a padded room and talking to a specialist for years. We need to destigmatize insane asylums. They were beneficial for the right people. And for the right people, they were able to live a fairly comfortable life while in their own delusions, while society was safe from their maniacal behavior. And not all people that have mental illness are that extreme. There's such a wide spectrum of mental illness. However, there is a spectrum of mental illness where people have made decisions repeatedly, and now they have to reap what they have sown. And maybe after some lengthy studies of how we can rehabilitate people, and then try a rehabilitation program that's not putting children at risk. No, stay away from the children. If children are at risk, repeat offenders don't get to be in a polite society, especially one with young children, which is any morally based society that plans to have a future. Moving on, we're gonna go to Rachel Perkins. I'm not sure which. This might just be a contribution. Oh, okay. It's from WGME. Written by Rachel Perkins. Auburn crackdown. 6 arrested in raid on notorious drug house. So it came out on... Okay, I guess it actually came out earlier this morning on the 10th. Auburn. A residence in Auburn, long suspected to be a hub for illegal narcotics, has been neutralized in a police operation that led to the arrest of 6 individuals and the discovery of an arsenal of drugs and firearms. Criminals aren't going to respect any kind of firearm laws. I mean, they already have an arsenal of drugs, so they're not going to pay attention to any other laws that they're breaking. This camera is really annoying. I almost got my face right in it, and then I realized I really didn't want to do that. For the world to always be able to rewind and see. The raid at Western Prom. The serene facade of 15 Western Prom was shattered on Tuesday when Auburn police, acting on tips from vigilant neighbors, raided the home. The operation turned dramatic as a man was spotted discarding a handgun from a third-floor window with narcotics soon following suit from another. In a futile attempt to avoid arrest, 2 individuals tried to escape through windows but were quickly detained by the officers. Hidden chambers and hidden dangers. A thorough search by the police uncovered a concealed crawl space within the home. Upon removal of a wall, officers found 3 people attempting to use the secret void as a hideout. Astonishingly, a total of 23 people were present in the property at the time of the raid. Oh, that is a hub. Wow. Yes, this is good. This is good. A trove of illicit findings. The haul from the operation was significant, with authorities seizing fentanyl, crack cocaine, methamphetamine, psilocybin mushrooms, 3 firearms, ammunition, and paraphernalia linked to drug manufacturing and trafficking. Over $1,100 in cash, suspected to be proceeds from drug sales, was also confiscated. Arrests and charges. Among those arrested was Matthew Messenger, a 42-year-old Auburn local facing multiple charges including illegal possession of a firearm and drug-related offenses, with bail set at a steep $30,000. Hakeem Warling, found in the crawl space, faced charges for illegal firearm possession and criminal simulation, his bail set at $2,500. Nadine Small, Joanne Scherer, Christopher Noel, and Crystal Gilbert were also apprehended on various warrants ranging from theft to aggravated assault. Small is notably a fugitive from justice in New Hampshire with pending charges of identity theft. Condemned conditions. The living conditions inside the home were deemed so deplorable that the code enforcement declared the property uninhabitable, closing a sordid chapter in the neighborhood's history. This decisive action by the Auburn police highlights the ongoing commitment to rooting out criminal activity and ensuring community safety. Excellent. Excellent. That makes me happy because that sounds like it was a pretty big one. I mean, 23 people hanging out there, doing all those things, doing Lord knows what, and now they're off the streets. I mean, not all of them, but at least it's on their records, and so they'll be much more careful, hopefully, the next time they think about doing something like this. Lastly, of the serious articles, before we just get to a lighthearted one, I know you're all waiting to find out about the Freeport restaurant. Interesting. Most interesting in the nation. This one's from 92 Moose. It was, I'm trying to see. Here it is. Written by Matt James, published on November 8th. Several Maine men have been arrested following what is being called a months-long investigation by the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. According to a press release from Maine Department of Public Safety, a vehicle was pulled over early on Tuesday morning on Interstate 95 near Newport. Moss went on to say in part, over the past several months, U.S. postal inspectors have been working alongside MDEA and USDEA agents assigned to the North Central Task Force in Bangor on an investigation involving the suspected distribution of significant quantities of cocaine being distributed throughout Penobscot County and elsewhere. During this investigation, investigators identified 28-year-old Chase Kane of Bangor as a main suspect in this trafficking organization. Early on Tuesday morning, a vehicle being operated by Kane was stopped on I-95 just north of Newport. Moss says that in the vehicle with Kane at the time of the stop was 27-year-old Benjamin Hughes of Brewer. Following a subsequent search of Kane's car, officers say they made a shocking discovery of more than 4 pounds of cocaine. Police say that the drugs carry an estimated street value in excess of $200,000. Moss reported that Kane and Hughes were taken to the Penobscot County Jail, where they were then charged with Class A aggravated trafficking and Schedule W drugs. This charge was elevated to aggravated due to the quantity of drugs that were seized. Additionally, Kane was charged with violations of conditions of release as he was currently out on bail for a non-related offense. Following the arrest of Cain and Hughes, investigators executed a search warrant at 315 Griffin Road in Bangor. During the search, agents seized more illicit drugs, firearms, and cash. Arrested during the search was 30-year-old Hayden Taylor of Brewer after he was found to be in possession of a backpack containing cocaine, $3,000 in suspected drug proceeds, and a loaded semi-automatic handgun. Again, criminals don't care. Taylor is a convicted felon, and because of that, he is prohibited from carrying guns. He was then taken to the Penobscot County Jail, where he was charged with Class A aggravated trafficking and Schedule W drugs and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, Moss said in the release. All suspects are considered innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. And the court of law is going to find their asses guilty. I mean, is there any more to say on that? You reap what you sow. Every action has a reaction or a consequence. And if you can't face the consequence, then you don't do the crime. So lastly, we're going to finish up with a lighthearted one by 𝗤𝗏𝗘𝗢𝗓𝗏 by Joey from November 9th. Freeport, Maine. Restaurant named one of the most interesting in the country. In almost every corner of Maine, you can find a unique and uncommon restaurant to visit. Whether it's the decor, menu, or just some old-fashioned Maine charm, if you're looking for a fascinating restaurant, Vacation Land has plenty. Love Food recently put together a list of the most interesting restaurants across the United States, and the restaurant they've deemed to be the most interesting in Maine might be a surprise. That's because it's a fast food chain. See, I didn't expect it. Love Food identified the McDonald's location in Freeport as Maine's most interesting restaurant. While most other restaurants in the list are mom and pop spots, how did a fast food joint become Maine's most interesting restaurant? It really boils down to the fact that there are no other McDonald's in the world like the one in Freeport. As many people know, McDonald's wanted to build one of their signature restaurants in downtown Freeport years ago and were denied by the town. Rather than pack up shop, they purchased a 19th century house and accidentally created a one-of-a-kind McDonald's. Because McDonald's had to operate under certain town constraints, it's not just the exterior that's different. The interior of the Freeport McDonald's features fireplace, plush-style booths, and other pieces of old-time decor you'd expect to see in a farmhouse from 1850. While it is unquestionably one of the most interesting McDonald's locations in the world from an aesthetic perspective, the menu is still a straightforward McDonald's menu with the occasional lobster roll as a featured item during the summer months. Is it truly Maine's most interesting restaurant? We'll let you decide. Yeah, I mean, so I get why it's on the list. It is, but it deserves the most interesting McDonald's location in the world. But to be the most interesting restaurant in Maine, I'm thinking Maine-based businesses. I'm not thinking fast food. So that caught me off guard. And then maybe it's kind of clickbaity for food, love food, because when people see McDonald's, they're like, oh, like, what does that mean? I want to read more. I don't know. I don't know if people, I think a lot of people try to avoid clickbait, but then every once in a while they sneak something in like that and you're like, click. So, well, guys, this has been interesting. I liked the concept of focusing on primarily the same thing. It kind of groups my thoughts together, which in this case are ultimately bring back insane asylums, destigmatize insane asylums, and then we need to figure out repeat offenders and how to properly handle them. So this was pretty concise, and if you guys like it, please leave some comments down below. The engagement on my post really helps, and right now, at only about 271 as of the recording of this video, I still could use a lot of help. So anything you guys can do would really help. If you like my commentary and my views on things, share it with somebody else that you think might enjoy it as well, and we'll start a growing community that is already well on its way. Until next time, y'all, have a great day.